Good morning, everybody. How are you? This is Nancy, the Disorderly Stitcher. I am filming, which I guess we can call this filming. Do we use film anymore? On Monday, December 9th. And I hope everybody is doing well. Those of you that were hit by the snow, I have been thinking about you because I know what lake effect snow looks like. Granted, I have never, to my memory, been in a situation where like 55 inches of snow got dumped, but I lived in Northeast Ohio for a while, and I was told where we lived, it was Chardon, Ohio. We were the highest point east of Cleveland, so we always got dumped on. Anyway, we have not had enough snow to mention. Some of the snow bands did make it this far in from the lake effect snow, but you know, it's too warm. And it is rare that we get heavy snow in December. In fact, in my Facebook memories, it told me that 10 years ago, this past weekend, we had a snowstorm. So probably in January. If you had time to celebrate Thanksgiving with your family in the States, I hope you had a wonderful visit and ate lots of good things. And I hope that you've had a lot of time to get some things created for gifts or decorations or whatever you plan on doing with your stitching and your quilting and your crafting and so on. So I'm going to set up a disclaimer right now. This is about the third, fourth time I've done this. The first time was on the laptop, and as I said before, I can't get that program to do what I want it to do anymore. So then I did it on the iPad, and I couldn't get the iPad to figure out. And then I tried again, but before I could do it again on the iPad, I had to update. And the new update was being stupid. And you could tell I was very frustrated. So I decided, no, I'm not going to subject you to my frustrations. So I do not have any haul to show you because I put it all away after the first time. And I honestly couldn't tell you what I got. I might be able to show you a little bit. I did get some happy mail from two people, and the one I put away, the one I know where it is, I can grab it. And I have lots of stitching to show you. And I don't want to call them plans. I want to call them ideas because, you know, I'm the disorderly stitcher, so I don't really plan. Because planning, the only time I ever really planned in my life was my lesson plans at school. Because, you know, I had to turn those in. And sometimes even those went out the window. So before we get started, I want to go over the share from the last video. I did not hear from the person who received the share. So I am going to put this back out there. So if you are interested in this, we're going to change the happy word to sunflower. S-U-N-F-L-O-W-E-R. We're going to pretend that's a sunflower. Okay, please use that word sunflower in your comments, and the next time I film, I will post the receiver of the share. All right, don't use the evil words like giveaway, winner, things like that, because we don't want any trolls to come in. And please be over 18. You know all the rules, hopefully. I would love for you to be a subscriber. If you are not a subscriber and you like what you see today, please hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of when I load content, then hit that bell. Okay? I know some people have asked me if I'm going to do another video, and here it is. I'm trying. So I've also been making some bags for the shop. I'll show you those later. I'm in the middle of some of them, but I wanted to get this done this morning so that it had time to upload, I hope. So what have I been up to? Well, the first project is in my poinsettia goose bag. And I'm going to tell you a story before I get too far in this. So the first time I filmed, which was the end of last week, as you know, I'm not a regular thread bed person. But while I was filming it, I opened this up, and lo and behold, I found the threads for the stitch, the Quaker stitch that I thought I had lost them from. But I had just, no lie, a couple days before that, cut that stitch off of the fabric and threw it away. Yes. So, that being said, now I have in this bag A Type of Christmas by Erin Elizabeth. She is an incredible, incredible artist. And I love how she does the, I don't want gradations or shading of the threads in her designs. So I was having trouble with this one for a while. I don't know why, but when I was organizing in here, and we'll talk about that in a minute, and I decided to go through my whips and try and organize them for next year, I pulled it back out and I was like, you know what, Nance, this is not that hard. Work on it a little bit at a time and you'll get it done. So that's what I did. When I pull things out, if I can get to the end of a page or to a decent stopping point, then that's what I do. I am giving up on WhipGo, which if you want to know what WhipGo is, I will try and put the link in my description box. But it's basically a bingo board. And Jessie Marie does stuff. We'll draw 2 numbers every month, and those are the 2 whips you work on. I'm usually good with WhipGo for about 9 months. But even then, it's stressful for me. I don't know why. I don't know why. Some people say it's because it's like somebody's telling you what to do. I don't think that's it. I just pull something out and do it. But hang on to that thought. So these are the colors. They're all DMC. All right. I do not have a before picture. I am stitching this on 32 count gray stone. I have no idea what gray stone is, who dyed it, whatever. I think it's a linen. So I know I was about here. And I didn't want to UFO this out into the world because I had made a mistake in holly. And so if you look, you can see that this shoe is not as wide as this shoe. All right. But when I picked it back up, this is how far I got. And I do not iron for videos because I don't want to stick the heat on and run the risk of shrinking the fabric or anything like that. So I am enjoying it now. There is a lot of color changes in some of them, like in the stocking. If you look really, really close, you can see about 2 or 3 different reds. But that's what makes it beautiful. Worked on some of the border. I like to use the border as a landmark type thing. So that is A Type of Christmas by Erin Elizabeth. I'm putting everything back so that I don't lose it again. Whoops. I will zip them up later. All right, so hopefully I was able to put some before pictures in this video, but if I'm not, what can you do? All right, this is another one that when I was going through my whips and I was organizing, I was like, oh, you really should work on that. So this is Prairie House Sampler by Brenda Gervais. I love the browns and the blues together. Brown and indigo is a beautiful combination. And of course, I'm a sampler girl. I love letters. Letters, to me, letters are one of the easiest things to do. I've become a house fanatic, but the nice thing about this house, if I'm remembering correctly, the white in that log cabin is not stitched. So it's just brown lines. That's going to be easy. All right. So when I did it, and I honestly don't remember when or where I started this. I started this on February 7th, 2023. And I want to say it was like some kind of Zoom thing. I don't even know. And all I had done was that little viney border. But when I picked it back up, I went to town. I call that, why not? And I'm one of those, like if I'm working with a color, like I think it was the C's, and I still have thread, if I can find some place to start again with it, then I will run that thread under the stitches, cut it, and then start where I can use it again. So like I believe the C's and this border in between the letters, this line between the letters, is it a border or a band? Band between the letters is the same color. So there we go. So you can see, let me see if I can do this. So I pretty much got done with the first page and a little bit more. I think this with the two birds and the flower I need to do on the first page. But this won't take long once I sit down and work on it. If you happen to know who dyes Greystone fabric, Greystone, please let me know so I can complete my project card. I record everything on project cards, and I got this idea from Tiger Lily and I created my own. I do sell them in my Etsy shop. So you have all your information on the front and you have room for your threads and any notes you want to make on the back. And I stick it in the bag and there we go. Oh, I didn't show you the threads. I just told you about them. There we go. Very prim, I don't want to call them prim, but like colonial blues, and yes, very 19th century looking. All right, what's next? All right, in my Teresa Kogut, I don't know what the fabric line is, but it's red, white, and blue bag that I made. I have a Plant of Rapid Growth by Heartstring Samplery. So this goes along with my history teacher nerdness. And I don't know, I don't know why I fell in love with it. One's the house, obviously, but I just love the colors. And that border is very easy. So I'm doing this on Color and Cotton Renaissance 36 count. And it calls for a combination of Classic Colorworks, Weeks, and Gentle Arts. Well, I wanted to use my Color and Cotton that I was getting in their thread club. So I went through and I was pulling threads or looking at the chart and looking at colors. And I made this Post-it note of what I wanted to use where. And then I made a copy of the thread list and I wrote it down, like what was going to be where. So for example, like here's the heart. It's the same heart, but it's two different places. So like in one place I have like the bunting, I'm using red rocks, but in the bricks I'm using brick for the flowers. So same symbol, different places, different threads. So here are my threads. It's a combination of Color and Cotton, Weeks Dye Works, and Classic Colorworks. They're so pretty. Pretty, pretty. So what I had done was let me see if I can get this. It was pretty much the first page. And the only time I had to fiddle with color was the eagle's head. I was originally using a color that was more like of a parchment tan, and let's face it, that's not a bald eagle. So I took it out and used the white. And I finished page 2. Now, page 2, granted, is mostly words, but I still love it. So I will pick it up again and do page 3. And yes, it'll get done. I feel very accomplished when I go page by page. I don't know why. I want to get some of these done. And I'll explain why after we're done here. The next one's in my Looney Tunes bag that I made. I was never a big Looney Tunes fan, but I love Marvin the Martian. So he's my favorite. So this is a Tisket a Tasket. And this is one of the first charts I bought when I jumped back into cross stitch during the pandemic, like many of us did. And I purchased the chart and I purchased all the flosses. Now the flosses, you didn't see that, right? Good. No. All right. If you see, it says grits, 4 skeins, and it's all Weeks Dye Works. So even before I had thought about doing this, I bought all the flosses in all the quantities that I needed to do because dye lots change. Okay. So it calls for picture this plus vellum, which I did not have. So when I pulled the threads, so like here's the threads I'm using right now. These are all the called for threads. And I have all the extra threads that I bought, in a bag. So now when I finish up a skein, let's say this is galvanized. When I finish up this skein of galvanized, I'll pull one out of here, take it off the new one and put it on the old one. And the reason I'm doing that is because I have these little plastic hangy things, which makes it a little easier to use. At least I find it easier to use. The smaller Weeks Dye Works tags. Now, if you are interested in how I'm using these, I got the idea from Missy from 2 Needles Pulling Thread, and I will do my best to link the video below where she explains it. But you can get these tags on the Amazons. You know, we can get everything on the Amazons. So when I was pulling fabric and I didn't have vellum, I decided to just pull whatever. And when I pull fabric and I look at threads, I make sure I pull one thread away from the skein and lay it on the fabric to make sure it doesn't ghost too much. You lay the whole skein down, it's going to look great. But one thread, since it's a 1-thread stitch, may not look so great. So I was pulling and pulling and pulling, and I found this light blue. Again, I have no idea who dyed it. It is mottled. I love it. There we go. And, you know, for a while there I was like, okay, is the lightest gray going to show up? Is the white going to show up? And it does, because it's next to something. And again, this is one of those that if I was stitching with a certain color thread and I finished it, and I had, I finished that section and I had thread on the needle, I would run it through the back of the stitches, cut it off, and go to the next place I needed it. So this is a Sal, Tisket a Tasket Sal, that a friend of mine, we were at Grace Notes retreat and she was looking at it and I said, hey, you want to sal it? And sure. So I put it out there, and now it's no pressure. I originally divided it a certain way, and I divided it and that went out the window. So, yeah. So it's no pressure. I just want to salad. I just want to stitch it. And when it gets done, it gets done. You know, I'm not the Sal police. I'm not going to slap your hand if you don't get it done in a certain amount of time. Okay, the last one I have is in this, I think it's Bonnie and Camille that I made. And just because I had 2 fat quarters and I wanted to make them, okay? And I'm not usually a matchy-matchy bag person because I don't always have like a Christmas bag and I don't always have whatever. Anyway, enough excuses. This is Dasher and Dancer by Hobby House. And of course I fell in love with this because it's red and it's got an alphabet and yes, and it's a Quaker. I am becoming a Quaker fanatic. So I started this, I believe, at the Jingle Ball last year. And when I was starting it, when I bought it, I was like, okay, do I want to do the red? I also bought some blue Gentle Arts. I don't even remember which one, and some green, because I thought, okay, I could do it all in one color. Well, then I didn't like that idea. And my friend Chris, the camping stitcher, said, well, why don't you do the tree in green and the rest of it in red? And I said, well, that's a smart idea. Sometimes you need somebody else's brain to kick yours into gear. So that's what I decided to do. So I started it. I wasn't very far. I think I was, let's see if I can do this. I think I was about there. So I started working on it again, and I got through page 1, and when I got to the deer, I don't know if it's Dasher or Dancer. Probably Dasher because it's on the left. Left. I was like, I don't want a red deer. So I went and I pulled out a brown Color and Cotton. So there we go. That's how far I got. So my deer are going to be brown. My tree is going to be green. And everything else will be red. I am doing this on 40 Count Milk and Honey by Fiber on a Whim. And here are my threads. All right. So it's Gentle Arts Mulberry, Color and Cotton Cocoa Bean, and the green is Gentle Arts Forest Glade. Now, Nancy, why do you have all that mulberry? I must have had mulberry in my stash. And then I must have bought mulberry for the stitch. But as we know, dye lots change. And I don't know if you can see it. Maybe not. So what I'm doing is just pulling from whatever skein I grab so that I can mix them up. And not have, hopefully not have, an obvious dye lot shift when I stitch this. I got that idea from Chris too. She's full of wonderful ideas. All right, that is my whips. No, wait, there's one more. Hold on to your hats, people. Hold on to your hats. Let's put this back so I don't lose it. All right, another one I pulled out while I was organizing things is in this bag. It's a cheater print. It was part of another bag kit that I never made, and I thought I'm just using it for a project bag. Smart idea. All right, this is Summer Quaker by Leela's Studio. I'm sure many of you have seen it. And there was a mistake in the chart, probably 3 mistakes at least. And there are 3 pages that you need to go into her website and print. So like, for example, in this green inner border, right there in that first green line under the L, in the original chart that I have, it's 1 stitch short. And I wouldn't have recognized it unless I had actually, I don't know why, but I looked down, I'm like, oh yeah. So make sure you go in and you print the corrections if you're using the paper version. Even if you're not using the paper version, make sure you download the corrections. So what I did is I just downloaded the corrections and I printed them, and I wrote the word corrections at the top, and I stuck them in my chart pages so I know which page I'm working on. Because, you know, maybe someday I'll want to sell this or give it away or something. Who knows? Anyway, so when I started, I only had, when I pulled it back out, I only had this row and I want to say maybe this done. Maybe that flower. And I had, you know, put it away. And I know you're like, Bender, it's almost winter time and you're working on summer. I'm not a seasonal stitcher. So it's all DMC. Lots of DMC. Beautiful blues. And I'm doing this on 36 count ledger by Stitch Me. It's a beautiful mottled yellow and blue. Blue and yellow. And this is where I am. I'm really enjoying this stitch. It was funny. I was working, I got to this little motif and I'm like, what the heck is that? So I looked at the picture. It's a cloud. So that's probably a little bit into the second page. Like the word live goes on to the second page and this motif goes on to the second page. But I'm having fun with it. I love it. And I find that I have to, in my brain, I have to go, while I'm stitching it, I get tired of the blue. So I'm like, okay, can I start stitching in another color so that I have a little, you know, pizzazz, and then I go back to the blue. But, you know, that's not always the case. So those are my stitches. So like I said, I do not have my haul out. Well, I could, can I? No, I'll show you that another time. One thing I did do is I don't know why, you know, maybe it's because I'm working on Lady of the Flag from Mirabilia, but I have been enabled by a few people, and I love you all very much. But I have decided that there are Mirabilias out there that I really, really think are beautiful. So for example, I bought Nightingale, and I will work on her one of these days. I mean, even so far as to purchase the bead pack and the Karen water lilies, I have to find them. And then I bought Winter Queen and Royal Holiday on on Cobweb Corner when they were on sale. I put an In Search Of out on one of my groups on Facebook and said, in search of the spring, summer, and fall queens. Well, somebody said, hey, I have spring. It's not in the original package, but I have, you know, the original chart and the photograph. And I'm like, sure, I'll take it. So now I have spring queen. So I need fall and summer. Janet Jabber has been stitching these queens and they are absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. I also put in search of out there for Touching the Autumn Sky. Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough did that one, and it's beautiful, and one of these days I would like to do it. This is when I'm wishing I had not given up cross stitch 30 years ago, because I'm playing catch up, right? Right. So that was part of my haul, and I had some Happy Mail come in, which is always a wonderful surprise and a very humbling thing to receive. My friend Kara, Pink Daisy Stitch, she had gone to the Barefoot Needle Arts retreat and picked up some beautiful floss drops and project cards for me. She made me some floss drops. She is incredible. And she purchased an Annie B's chart. I think it's Harvest Home. I wish I had it to show you, but I don't. It has a beautiful house and pumpkins and kitties. So I can't wait to stitch that. Thank you so much, Kara. I also received from Missy from Two Needles Pulling Thread a retirement gift. And she sent me this cute Snoopy mug, because you can't have enough Charlie Brown peanuts. She sent me these cute floss cards, and I'm truly wondering if this is Missy. I love those cheeks. And she sent me Farmhouse Flossies. I have not used these. She told me they're cotton, but they're beautiful. Look at the variegation. She sent me those. She also sent me a sticker. This is an ongoing friendly disagreement. Where did whoopie pies originate? I live in Pennsylvania. Of course they're Pennsylvania. She lives in Maine. Of course they're from Maine. She found this sticker. I love it. And it looks like a whoopie pie. Chocolate and the cream filling. So, I love it. I love it. I love it. I have this down here on my shelf for now. I got to find a place where I know it won't break. So what else have I been up to? Cleaning up in here. There was the plan was that I wanted to get the Calyx, whatever shelf unit from IKEA. And now remember, my room is only 10 by 10, and I am very grateful for my room, but it's very, very stuffed. And I did take a video tour, and I will try and attach it at the end. But I wanted to get stuff off the floor because it was getting to the point where I couldn't walk through here. So I found one, a 5x5, it's right there, on Facebook Marketplace for a decent price. So I looked at my husband. Of course, he rolls his eyes. So we went and got it. It was taken apart. And she said, whatever you do, build it on the floor. Okay. Well, I knew in order to build it on the floor in here, I would have to take most everything out. And I just wasn't in the mood to do that until we had an accidental iced tea spill when my grandson walked in with a glass and the cat startled him and he spilled it. And long story short, it's a vinyl floor. No floor damage, no carpet issues. But some of it went under a bookshelf. So then I had to take the fabric off the bookshelf and move the bookshelf and clean up the tea. And I thought, what the heck, while I'm at it, everything that could go out into the living room went out into the living room. The big sewing table we just ended up shifting, and so on. So we started building it on the floor. And we couldn't get the pieces to, play nice on the floor. And my husband said, well, let's try building it up and we'll let gravity help us hold it together. Okay. We had it almost done and it collapsed. Like we had 20 out of the 25 together and it collapsed. There is a crack in this upright, but these uprights are one long piece. So again, we're hoping gravity plays nice and it doesn't collapse again. But one thing we learned was IKEA is meant to be built one time and not moved. So if I ever get around to doing this again, even my husband said, you're never buying a secondhand IKEA thing again. Yes, dear. But it was fun organizing in here. And most of, I would say 90% of what was on the floor is now on a shelf. And, or what was all of my kitted projects that I had just put somewhere, like that were in crates, like those crates behind me, are now on a shelf. And my fabric is up on a shelf. And my whips that were in a Longaberger laundry basket overflowing in the living room by my chair are now on a shelf. So I feel good about that. And if I could only keep the cat from climbing up on my little white floss cabinets, then that would be great. She did manage to hop on the top of the door into the den. This is the den / sewing room. No idea how she got up there, but then I couldn't get her down. She couldn't get down, you know. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. It is a little tight behind my sewing machine with my back to this shelf, but I'm going to live with it because that's really the only other only option I have without covering up some of this shelf, and I don't want to do that. So like I have 2 squares of these binders. These are charts. I still have charts that I need to put in a binder, and some of these binders are unique to one designer and some of them aren't, so I need to organize those. I have my fabric, lots of fabric that is going to be bags and or quilts. These 3 shelves right here are my whips, and these 3 shelves are kitted projects. And I also have the bags that are in my shop waiting to be purchased up here. So yes, that's where I am. And I love it. I feel a little more organized and not as stressed out about it. What is another idea I have? I was watching Crazy Band Lady Stitches one day, and she said that she takes something similar to these and she puts them on her projects. And that little nugget was back in my brain. And then somebody said they use the Tiny Decisions wheel on their phone to, they spin it at the beginning of the week, and that's the project they work on. So that little nugget got stored. And, I've done WhipGo, like I said, for 2 years. And it's okay, but I don't think I'm going to do it again. So I decided to, when I was rearranging in here, I went through in my new planner from My Crazy Life Lori, and I will do my best to link her in the description box. She has an Etsy shop. I decided when this year she loaded some, where are they? Some WIPs, New Starts, and Plans pages. So I wrote them all down. All my WIPs except for Lady of the Flag. She's not in here. And they're numerically ordered. All right, so the first one on the list is Gather In by Plum Street, which is in this bag. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tag, a numbered tag on each one of my WIPs. I know y'all are falling off your seats right now, right? I'm going to put a numbered tag on my WIPs, and I started numbering them. So like here's a bunch that I've numbered. Got these off of the Amazons. And on my tiny decision wheel, I had originally loaded, I think I showed you last time, I had originally loaded the names of my WIPs. Well, I went back and I changed it to numbers. So at the beginning of the week, in fact, I have to add one or two. At the beginning of the week, I will spin the wheel. I'm going to start this on January 1st. Spin the wheel. So that was 24. So I would pull out, that's Tisket to Tasket. So I would pull out Tisket to Tasket, and I would work on it for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. And it's not full days. It's, you know, if I can squeeze in an hour, that's what I do. If I can squeeze in an afternoon, that's what I do. If I work on it in the evening, that's what I do. And then maybe Friday, I'm thinking Friday might be Flag Friday, or, you know, I don't know. And I want to dedicate time to, I got a piece of hair in my face. Dedicate time to Lady of the Flag. And then I also am planning on starting my first full coverage of the signing of the Constitution on January 1st. That's my idea. Will I stick with it? Who knows? You know what I mean? Maybe it'll just be easier if I just pull them out numerically and throw this wheel thing out the window. I don't know. So, yeah, that's my idea. We'll see if it works. The other thing I wanted to say is never say never when it comes to smalls, because I have started purchasing smalls charts so that I can get some things done and I can put them out in my living room every once in a while. I don't do a lot of seasonal decorating because when you get down to it, I'm just lazy. I don't want to have to pull everything out and redecorate and blah, 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 blah. That's just the way I am. So like for Christmas right now, all that's out there is the tree, and it's not even decorated yet. And I told you the story about the fact that we have a 4-foot artificial tree. So the tree is set up. Right now it has 2 ornaments on it. And the ornaments are waiting to be put on the tree. We don't use every ornament. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I do. Oh, and the stockings. The stockings will go up. So yeah. I did purchase a few charts at Jingle Ball. If you were at the Jingle Ball and I had a chance to talk to you, that was fun. I purchased Teresa Kogut's Blue Santa, and I purchased one from Jeanette Douglas, her exclusive, the one exclusive she had, and I purchased another one from Teresa Kogut, Holiday Stroll, I think it was called. And I also purchased the ornament book this year. I'd never done that. But I honestly did not spend a lot of time in the Jingle Ball, nor did I spend a lot of time stitching. because I was working on bags and other things, and I just couldn't get in the zone with the Jingle Ball this year. It was me. It wasn't the Jingle Ball. So, yeah. Anyway. So my book, I did go back in and I put all bunch of holiday stickers in December. I just realized I don't have a Christmas cat. I did put a Christmas fox. And you can see I have not done anything with WhipGo, Boss Me, or the heifer board. So I probably won't. All right, so I do have some bags loaded in the shop. I am going to be finishing up the rest of them today. The ones that I'm working on today, I had previously loaded into the shop. So I'm going to be making more with this snowman fabric. That's on my list today. I'm going to have whole cloth and vinyl. And I just realized okay. So that's on the list. What else do I have loaded in the shop? I have 2 of the Kitty Christmas vinyl. They're quilted and they all come with the frog pull, and I will put a project card. You get a project card with the bag. I have, 2 of the Kitty Christmas whole cloth. They are quilted. I decided to go with the gray. I wanted the kitties to show up more than the zipper. So I went with the gray to match the kitty. And the lining is the green dots from the line. So I have 2 of those. There's the other one. I have 2 of the snowman. And, you know, I could have used red. I could have used blue. I could have used green. But I decided to go with the orange to match the snowman's carrot nose. So they're quilted in orange, and I have the orange zipper. And inside we have the ornaments in turquoise. Is that turquoise and red and green? And I also have 2 of the Christmas Village. Again, I decided to pull the pink out to match the door and the chimney and whatever else is pink. And I have the ornaments inside there as well. So, if you are so inclined, if you need a Christmas gift, I greatly appreciate when people order. These are about 13 by 14, 14 by 14, somewhere in there. And the vinyl ones are 14 by 11. And yes, I am thinking about, I'm still working on portfolios. Trying to come up with a design that, you know, is functional and pretty. Is that the word? Functional and and yeah, you know what I mean. So we're still working on those. And there's a couple other ideas that are floating around in my head. Let me reach for this. I took a scrap of the snowman fabric and I made a mini bag. Because I know that sometimes when we put our flosses in a bag, they get all scraggly, and I worry, especially if you're working with silks and you want them in something separate. So I made a mini bag. This is still in the experimental stage, but I'm thinking about those as well. So let me know what you think. I mean, is this something that you would be interested in? You know, is it worth it? It's no more work than a bigger bag, but I'm also thinking about thread beds. Because I know some people do like thread beds. And they would be probably a little bigger than this one that I got from Dot Dot Goose. I don't know yet. So, yeah. So that's it. So I hope we can get this loaded. So, please take care of yourselves. Remember, if you are interested in this project bag, use the word sunflower in your comment. I will draw the share winner for the next share receiver for the next video. Make sure you put project bag share in your subject bar. All right. I do check my spam folder and they don't, yeah. All right. So again, please take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful December. Do lots of creating. Stitch what you love and love what you stitch. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.